We are here. You're watching Political Point Magazine. Where the right is right and the left, well, the left is always on the wrong side of history. Why? Because political minds want to know. So enjoy a conservative point of view. And let's talk pea soup. With tonight's top stories. Well, Hillary is officially politically damaged goods. HillaryGate Part 27. That's right. Another bombshell for Hillary. Top secret emails deemed too classified to even release to the public. Wow. This means Hillary might see an indictment, probably. And the latest Fox News debates have come up, and guess who skipped out? Donald Trump. Yep. Was that a wise move on his part? We shall analyze. And tonight is the Iowa Caucuses. It's February 1st. Tonight. And we will take it to the phones and talk to you, the viewers, about all of this and more. Tonight. I am your humble host, William Mitro. Right. Wow. Welcome, everyone. Okay, my friends. Well, it is the first day of February now, and as I recall, it is a leap year too. So that means, my friends, that there's 29 days in February this year. All right, but we have news that will shake your fancy here. All right, now on all of this that has come up, we have been covering the political structure and the political atmosphere in several ways, my friends. Okay, now it does appear though, it does appear though that since tonight is the Iowa caucuses, but we did have another incident, okay, because at the end of every month, the State Department has its monthly report on the emails that have popped up. All right, yeah, that's right. But we are heading into the next session here, okay, and that makes of my the next issue of my HillaryGate series, where we found out that Hillary has lied so many times, it's not even funny. Okay, and we're getting to the point where we are finding out so much that makes over hundreds of thousands of emails already have been deemed classified. Okay, 2,200, I believe. or even 1,200,000. Okay, but anyways, it's thousands of emails that have been revealed to be classified, and now and now with this new batch, Hillary. Okay, now I want to show you this. Okay, you remember the many faces of Hillary Clinton, right? Okay, now this, my friends, is getting way, like, you know, it's just simply, just recently, the Democrats, and now this is very damaging to the Hillary campaign. Okay, the many faces of Hillary. All right, and so as things pop up, now the FBI have expanded their investigation, and as to this, now the 22 emails now have been deemed too classified to release. They are subject to top secret. Even. Alright. So obviously the information that was on Hillary's server has bit her in the butt now, and she may face an indictment, an FBI indictment now, and she may be forced to suspend her campaign indefinitely. Okay. Now remember David Petraeus? He was prosecuted for much less than that, but it is comparable. It is the same thing. Classified emails were exchanged between Petraeus and his publicist, which he had an affair with, and so he was prosecuted. And now it's so this is no different than that, but only for Hillary this is much worse because she's running for president, and it's not looking good for Hillary. Okay, so with this, okay, it appears that Bernie Sanders, okay, is coming. Bernie Sanders is coming up. It is coming close. To her. Okay. In fact, okay, this it shows what it shows here. Okay. Now, tonight is the Iowa caucuses. Okay, and now we have, and it's quite interesting what we have here. Bernie Sanders seems to be giving Hillary a run for her money. Okay, so as this comes into play, okay. See, so tonight is the Iowa caucuses. We will have something for you on that. Okay, but we definitely want to get to that. But I think the latest polls showed Bernie Sanders overpowering Hillary in Iowa. So I think Bernie Sanders might win Iowa for the Democrats. Now this is how a caucus works, though. Okay, but actually I'll get into that later in the show, because I wanna show something else. Okay, now I want to get to something else here, because if Hillary loses in Iowa to Bernie Sanders, and then goes on to lose New Hampshire, she's toast. Okay, I'm not ready for calls just yet. Just hold off on the calls. Okay. Hold off on the calls. I'm not ready for the calls just yet. Okay, but anyhow, okay. So what I want to do right now, okay, is we're going to talk about the Fox News debates. Okay, and the Fox News debates. Okay, first off, okay, I want to get into the Fox News debates, and Donald Trump, okay, has been surging in the polls. Okay, he's been ahead of all the candidates, and with this, okay, now Donald Trump appears to have had a problem with Fox News before. Okay, now Trump, as you know, has been the front runner.
Money for the veterans and the wounded warriors.
Has been the front runner, but this was the reason. Okay, this was the reason here that here's Trump. Okay, and okay, here's what Trump says. Okay, this is Trump right here.
I won't be doing the debate. I'm going to have something else in Iowa. We'll do something where we raise money for the veterans and the wounded warriors. We're going to do something simultaneously with the debate, but most likely I'm not going to do the debate. I didn't like the fact that they sent out press releases talking about Putin and playing games. I don't know what games Roger Ailes is playing, but what's wrong over there? Something's wrong.
Trump skips the debate. You know, this is quite unusual. Okay, here we have a front runner. Okay, and let me tell you what the issue is here with you know, it's Fox News. Okay, and I feel that Fox News is the most reliable news source now, but you know, and it turns out that you know that you know, the Fox News carried the first debate. The very first debate with the GOP, and at that debate, we saw see Trump's issue is Megyn Kelly, okay, which Megyn Kelly has been treating him fairly. Trump went on interviews on Fox News prior to the debate, you know. He went on O'Reilly's show. He went on Hannity's show, and he went on Megyn Kelly's show too. But okay, but here is the issue here. Okay, at the very first Republican GOP debate, all right, there was a question. There was a question by Megyn Kelly, and here is what the question was. All right, and I'm gonna show you this. All right, but Trump didn't like the question that Megyn Kelly asked. All right, but here is the question, and it's coming in here. All right. And I wanna show you this right here. Okay, so because this is the very first debate, and this is what Trump's issue is. Okay, he didn't think it was a very fair question. All right, but here is the issue. Here. All right, but here we go. Okay, here it is.
Mr. Trump. One of the things people do is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. Your Twitter account.
Thank you.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees. Does that sound to you like the temperament of a man we should elect as president? And how will you answer the charge from Hillary Clinton, who is likely to be the Democratic nominee, that you are part of the war on women?
Now, was that a fair question? But see, that was the issue, and that was the reason why Trump skipped the next Fox News debate. Okay? Now, Trump is an interesting candidate, and we will talk about if this was a wise move for him to skip the last Fox News debate. But while I'm getting into the debate here, all right, I wanna show the undercard first, okay? So because while the debate was going on, okay, Trump was across the way from the Fox News debate in Iowa, holding an event for our vets, our wounded vets. Okay, so I'm gonna take this to the undercard debate first. Okay, and so I want to take this to the undercard debate first. All right. Now, mind you, they did prepare for a debate. They did prepare for a debate where they prepared for two debates. Okay, two debates, right? Okay, and especially in the top tier. Okay, now they had two debates, one for the undercard and one for the top tier candidates. But okay, the one for the top tier, they actually were planning for just in case Trump showed up, because there were 7 podiums. Okay, there were seven podiums. Okay, and then they did have an 8th podium already ready just in case Trump did show up. Okay, but first I want to show some of the first undercard debate. Okay, so
states are on this stage tonight. Governor Huckabee, in 2008 you won by 9 points here, but this time your support seems to be going to Senator Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. Why, Governor, is your message not working this time?
I don't think it's that the message isn't working. I think it's the message isn't getting out. Because the message that I have this time, Bill, is exactly what I said 8 years ago. I talked about how people who are standing on their feet on factory floors, people who lift heavy things, who sweat through their clothes, they're getting gut punched. They are not having a fair shake in this economy. I talked about that 8 years ago, and I'm talking about it now. I talked about the importance of preserving life, of not just saying we're going to defund Planned Parenthood, but let's do something bolder. Let's get rid of abortion once and for all by applying the 5th and 14th Amendment to every person from conception, because that means that we recognize that no person can be deprived of life or liberty unless they have due process, and that's not happening in our country. And I believed and continued to practice that we need the fair tax to revive our economy, to make it so that people are able to be rewarded for their work rather than punished for it.
Governor, thank you. Senator Santorum, 4 short years ago, you won Iowa. You beat Mitt Romney. You pretty much shocked the country. But just the other day, you talked about doing what is in the greater good for your campaign. Is Monday night your last stand?
You know,
listening to what your network was talking about prior to this race, this debate, reminded me of the coverage that many on this floor are getting. This debate was called the undercard debate. The undercard debate. It wasn't advertised significantly. In fact, the entire hour lead up to this, there was no conversation about any of the four people on this debate stage. And that is the chronic situation. In fact, they put a poll up from Wall Street Journal, NBC News, and they listed the candidates. And they failed to mention I wasn't listed. I got 0. Why? Because the NBC Wall Street Journal poll never includes my name on the list. This is what the media has been doing over the past year in trying to segregate and take Iowans out of the process. What Iowans deserve is to hear from every candidate on an equal footing. Had they applied the same rules 4 years ago, I would have been in the undercard debate. The guy who won the Iowa caucuses would have been in the undercard debate, not talked about. We would have been talking about maybe an entertainer that may have been trying to run. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a chance on Monday to put the record straight about who you want, not who will entertain you,
okay,
but who will fight for what you believe
Senator,
in, and I hope you do it.
Do you want to name, Senator, do you want to name that entertainer you're referring to?
Well, look, the entire lead up to this debate was talking about whether Donald Trump is going to show up for the next debate. The people of Iowa, who I know pretty darn well, care a lot about the issues. They care about who's going to be the leader of the free world, who's going to be able to take on ISIS and take on Iran and make sure that we're safe. They're concerned about whether their agriculture program, so their renewable fuel standard is going to be maintained. And we're not hearing any of those things. We're hearing about whether someone's going to show up for the next debate or not.
Quickly then, after this debate, you mentioned Donald Trump's name. Immediately you're going to an event across town here in Des Moines as a guest of Donald Trump. So,
yeah, I am.
Are you laying the groundwork for maybe your future, perhaps an endorsement of Mr. Trump?
You know, this again, more of the politics of trying to get people to throw stuff at each other. I'm not going to throw mud at anybody on this stage tonight. I'm not going to throw mud at anybody on the stage later. I'm not going to attack Donald Trump. What I'm going to say, Mike Huckabee and I were asked to come to an event where money was going to be raised to help our veterans. You know, I thought about it. I said, well, wait a minute. Now, if there were no political considerations, and I had some time because I'm not doing anything at 9 o'clock tonight. Well. And so, if I had some time, would I go if I could help raise money for veterans? Well, and the answer was yes, I would, and so I'm going.
Well, Bill, can I...
Thank you, Senator.
Yeah. Well, now, what Rick Santorum is talking about? Okay, back in I believe it was 2008. Okay, he did run for president. Okay, and he actually, see, what happened was when it came to the Iowa caucus. Okay, when it came to the Iowa caucuses, on the Republican side, they mistakenly said that Romney had won. Okay, no, this is 2012. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, but 2012. Okay, in 2012, okay, Rick Santorum was running for president. Okay, and in the Iowa caucuses, they mistakenly said that Romney had won the Iowa caucus. And then 18 days later, we found out that Rick Santorum actually won the Iowa caucuses. so on that, okay. Yep.
So it will come as no surprise that there's an idea out there that there's a civil war brewing within the GOP over the meaning of conservative and the question of who is electable. There are some in the GOP who are so outraged by Trump and Cruz that they say they would actually rather have Hillary Clinton in the White House. So, Carly Fiorina, I ask you this. Is your party in crisis?
You know, when I started my campaign on May 4th of last year, I was 17 out of 16 candidates. Nobody polled my name. Nobody had ever heard of me. Less than 4% of you had ever heard of me. And the people in Iowa showed up, and they're still showing up, hundreds and hundreds of them at every event. I've done over 150 events in the state of Iowa. I have 15 more coming up. Now, by the way, I start there because someone asked me about midway through my campaign, what's the biggest surprise to you on the campaign trail? And I'll tell you what the biggest surprise is. The chasm, the yawning chasm between what the national media talks about and what the people of Iowa and the people of this great nation talk about. That's the biggest surprise. So guess what, Martha? Guess what? Sorry, the people of Iowa never asked me about a crisis in the GOP. They never asked me about the polls. They never asked me about the other candidates. What they asked me about is, Carly, tell us why zero-based budgeting is so important. Tell us why you're a leader who's going to produce results. Tell us how you're going to defeat ISIS. Tell us how we're going to replace Obamacare. In other words, I'm going to put my faith every single time, not in the pundits, not in the polls, most definitely not in the national media. I'm going to put my faith in the common sense and the good judgment of the voters of Iowa. And last time I looked, you hadn't started voting yet. So, on Monday night, I hope you'll stand with me, fight with me, caucus for me, because citizens, this is why we have to take our government back. The establishment thinks it owns this country. The pundits think they own this country. Citizen government. Citizens. The game is rigged. You have the power. Take our country back.
Thank you. Governor Gilmore.
You hear that? Now, that Carly Fiorina said the game is rigged. That means the media is rigging it. Okay? And so this is why now she brought up zero-based budgeting. Okay, and I'm gonna go into a thing on that. Okay? But I wanna get into more of that because they question Carly Fiorina on more on that, okay, on her zero-based budgeting and her plan to shrink the tax code down to 3 pages. All right.
Clinton and Trump. One candidate in this race has criticized so-called New York values. So tell me, in your opinion, are New York values different than Iowa values?
You know, I would leave that to other people. I'm not going to get into an argument with all the New Yorkers because there's a lot of them. This much I will tell you. I wish that some of those New Yorkers had funded as much of my campaign as they did the corporately funded candidates, but they didn't. And to be honest with you, when I say I wish they had, I'm glad they didn't. I'm not a New York funded campaign. I'm not bankrolled by the corporatist. I'm not bankrolled by Goldman Sachs and Citibank and AIG and all the big brokerage houses and the billionaires. I'm sponsored by people like Thomas, a part-time Uber driver in Pennsylvania, who sent me $25 this week. He's between jobs. He's driving an Uber car. But he believed in what I'm talking about enough that even on a limited part-time income, he sent me $25 to help in my campaign. I'll stand with the Thomases of the world any day. I'll leave all the discussion of the big financiers to other candidates, but there's only a few of us in the entire Republican process who are not corporately funded by the same group. And let me just finish by saying, you want to know why things never change depending on whether Democrats or Republicans are in power, and why Republicans in Iowa and the rest of the country are so frustrated? The reason is because if you follow the money, the same folks who finance the Democrats finance the Republicans, and no matter what the speeches and the ads, they get the same results. If you want a different result, I'm available.
Thank you, Governor. Senator Santorum, according to Google.
Wait, I want to get to that zero-based budgeting because, oops, okay, because now, Carly Fiorina had an excellent idea about zero-based budgeting. All right, zero-based budgeting. She mentioned zero-based budgeting, and and it's been around for decades. Okay, all small businesses use it. I use it. So I'm going to get into zero-based budgeting. Okay, now, for example, okay, now, last night I was going through my finances for my business. Okay, we have my finances for 2006 and my finance ledger for, 2016 and 2015. All right, so now this is what I call, this is zero-based budgeting. Okay, every dollar, every dollar, every penny, every nickel, every dime, every quarter, every bit of cash or change that I have is accounted for. Okay, now this is my daily financial activities. Okay, so I mark it all down. What I make, what I take in, and what I spend, and stuff. Every dollar, okay, every dollar is accounted for. At the end of the day, I mark it down. Okay, at the end of the day, you know, and during the day, when I spend something or make a transaction or anything regarding money, I write it down. Okay, I write it down. Okay, so I have my weekly income, my year to date, my deductions, which are my expenditures, and I mark it down whether I got gifts, whether I spent money for charity, and then I have something which is called card and currency. Okay, now, but anyhow, I mark it all down. Okay, and let me show you something on this. Okay, so and I'm gonna show you something on this. Okay, this is my flow chart here. Okay, and now, and also this is also why another rebuttal to the Gorgeous Gazette, who falsely claimed in their propaganda slander article that nobody wanted to see my magic. Well, I have something to show you. Okay, and this all goes along with zero-based budgeting. Okay, now if you look at this, in January 2015, I made $266.25. Okay, and this is the Jack of All Trades Foundation. Okay, in January of this year, I made $884.04. Okay, now this, my friends, okay, is significant because I tripled my income. Okay, so from 2015 in the year to date 2015, my income, I made $12,740.29. Okay, but this year, okay, now there's a reason that my income was so low last year. Was because there was still the construction on the commons. The commons didn't open up until the summer. Okay, open back up until the summer. Okay, so 2013, 2014, and 2015, and part of 2015 was a little rough. But I tripled my income this year, and I'm making more money. So to say that people are not interested in my magic, that's a load of bull. All right, because I'm making money, and this year I'm gonna make a ton of more money. All right, but now on that note, I want to play for you some of the main debate. Okay, some of the main debate on Fox News. Okay, and so we get into the main debate, which Trump skipped out on. Okay, but we're gonna get into the main debate, which I want to show, and this is pretty fascinating. I love this whole process. Okay, now on the Iowa caucuses. Okay, now so here's some of the
it's done in government. You know what people are frustrated about in Washington D.C., and I know the folks out there tonight are incredibly frustrated because what they see is a government that doesn't work for them. You know, for the 45-year-old construction worker out there who's having a hard time making ends meet, who's lost $4,000 in the last 7 years in his income because of this administration, he doesn't want to hear the talk about politics, Megan, and who's establishment and who's grassroots and who's compromise and who's principle. What he wants is something to get done. And that's the difference between being a governor and having done that for the last 6 years in New Jersey and being someone who has never had to be responsible for any of those decisions. Barack Obama was never responsible for those decisions. Hillary Clinton has never been responsible for those kind of decisions where they were held accountable. I've been held accountable for 6 years as the governor of New Jersey, and with the Democratic legislature, I've gotten conservative things done. That is exactly what I'll do as President of the United States.
Senator Paul, you're definitely not in the establishment category. But at the beginning of this campaign, you said you were your own man when asked about your father, former Texas Congressman and three-time presidential candidate Ron Paul. Senator Cruz's campaign is out with a video saying that Cruz is the intellectual and political heir to your father's 2012 campaign and the Liberty Movement. And your father now says that it's realistic that Donald Trump will be your party's nominee. So did you make a mistake by not more fully embracing your father politically at the beginning of this campaign?
You know, I've always had a great deal of respect. There's probably no person I respect more in the country or in recent history than my father. I think he was probably the most honest man in politics that we've ever seen in a generation. And so in no way have I ever said that I don't embrace my father or love my father or appreciate everything that he's done for the country. I think what's interesting about where that liberty vote goes that my father brought to the Republican Party is I don't think they're necessarily going to go for Ted. You know, Ted didn't show up. We had an audit the Fed vote, which was the biggest thing my dad had been advocating for 30 years. Ted didn't have time to show up. He was the only Republican that didn't show up for it. And so I think that really that vote is going to stay in the Paul household. I think more of it's coming and it's going to grow. The NSA is another big issue. Ted said he was for NSA reform. But then he told Marco Rubio, oh, no, I voted for the bill because I'm for the government collecting 100% of your cell phone records. I don't think Ted can have it both ways. They want to say they're getting some of the Liberty vote, but we don't see it happening at all. We think we're going to do very well in Iowa with the Liberty vote.
Senator Cruz, your response to that?
Well, I agree with Rand that I very much respect Ron Paul, and that I think anyone who's got to be able to win in the Republican Party has to be able to bring together the disparate elements of the Reagan coalition. You've got to be able to bring together conservatives and evangelicals and libertarians and stitch together a winning majority. When it comes to the audit the Fed bill, as Rand knows well, I was an original sponsor of the bill. I am strongly supportive of it. It didn't have the votes to pass, and I had commitments to be at a town hall in New Hampshire, but I look forward to signing that bill into law as president and to auditing the Fed and providing needed accountability at the Federal Reserve.
Senator Rubio.
I think, Rand and I have some significant issues on policy, but I respect Rand. He believes everything he stands for. I do respect Rand. But I want to be frank about what I stand for. I believe the world is a safer and a better place when America is the strongest power in the world. And I believe only with a strong America will we defeat this radical group, this apocalyptic group called ISIS. That's why when I'm president, we are going to rebuild our intelligence capabilities, and they're going to tell us where the terrorists are. And a rebuilt U.S. military is going to destroy these terrorists. And if we capture any of these ISIS killers alive, they are going to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And we're going to find out everything they know. Because when I'm president, unlike Barack Obama, we will keep this country safe.
Thank you, Senator.
Governor, Mike, may I respond?
I don't think... We'll come back to...
Well, I mean, I was talking about it in the question. Just very quickly, I'd like to respond. The bulk collection of your phone data, the invasion of your privacy, did not stop one terrorist attack. I don't think you have to give up your liberty for a false sense of security. When we look at this bulk collection, the court has looked at this. Even the court declared it to be illegal. If we want to collect the records of terrorists, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Let's use the Fourth Amendment. Let's put a name on a warrant. Let's ask a judge for it. Let's respect the history of our country. John Adams said that we fought the war for independence because we wanted to fight against generalized warrants. Let's don't forget that.
Governor Kasich, I want to get back to this question of where conservatives are this year. You call yourself a, quote, inside-outside guy, a reformer who knows how to get things done, but you reject the establishment label. First question is, why do you reject it? And secondly, what do you say to Republican voters this year who view practical government experience as a liability and not an asset?
Well, first of all, I had a national reporter say, you know, there's three lanes. There's the establishment lane, the anti-establishment lane, and then there's the Kasich lane. And the reason is that I've been a reformer all of my career, fighting to reform welfare, fighting to reform the Pentagon, also being in a position to balance the budget, because that is very, very hard to do. And then in Ohio, of course, I had to bring about big reform again, because we were so far in the hole, and now we've just found out that we are up over 400,000 jobs since I took over as governor. You know, the situation is this. We cannot fix things in this country, the Social Security, the border, balancing the budget, getting wages to grow faster, unless we lead as conservatives, but we also invite people in from the other party. We have to come together as a country, and we have to stop all the divisions. And you know, that's been my message in New Hampshire. And having been in New Hampshire and here in Iowa, but in New Hampshire, I just received the support of 7 out of 8 of the newspapers in that state, because they see positive, they see unity, they see coming together, and they see a record of change and a record of accomplishment. And it isn't because I'm all that great. It's because I've been assembling a team of people who want to be involved in something that's a little bigger than themselves. I'll keep heading in that direction, believe me.
Dr. Carson, I want to pick up on that with you. Governor Kasich likes to say he knows how to land the plane. You've landed a lot of planes in the OR. But what about the idea of running for president with no experience in government at all?
Well, I will gladly confess that I'm the only one on this stage with no political title. You're not going to hear a lot of polished political speech from me, but you will hear the truth. And I don't think you have to be a politician to tell the truth. In fact, sometimes it's not that way around. And I've had more 2 a.m. phone calls than everybody here put together, making life and death decisions, put together very complex teams to accomplish things that have never been done before. And we are in a situation right now in our country that we have never been in before. We need people who think out of the box and can solve problems, can utilize the resources around them, very smart people, to focus on the problem and solve the problem. The American people are terrified. That's why we have this abnormal situation going on right now. We don't need more of the same solutions. We need different solutions to solve the problems and to save our nation.
I like that. Now, Ben Carson, I am supporting for president. Okay, I think he is the most he's the most popular one, actually. Okay, his favorables are higher than all the other candidates combined. Okay, 71% favorable. Okay, versus Trump, Cruz, and Rubio. You know, but he's the one. He is a healer. Okay, and he has the better solutions. You know, he's a renowned neurosurgeon. Okay, he has handled life and death situations. He knows how to get us out of crisis. Okay, and he's the only logical one. there, because he uses logic instead of just outright. He's the smartest one there. And so, my friends, I think Ben Carson is the better candidate. Although if Trump gets the nomination, I will support him. Right. But anyhow, okay. Tonight is the Iowa caucuses.
According to Google, ISIS was by far the most foreign policy topic over the last year. Senator Cruz, you talk tough about fighting terrorism. You talk about carpet bombing into oblivion. You talk about seeing if the sand will glow at night. But critics say that your record does not match up to that. You opposed giving President Obama authority to enforce his red line in Syria. In a row now, you have voted against the Defense Authorization Act. How do you square your rhetoric with your record, sir?
Well, Chris, I will apologize to nobody for the vigorousness with which I will fight terrorism, go after ISIS, hunt them down wherever they are, and utterly and completely destroy ISIS.
I like that too. Now, I think Ted Cruz is pretty strong here. All right, and so as this is now, we are down to there's what now 8, 10, so we have 12 candidates, 12 good candidates on the Republican side. All right, and the Democrats, they're just not making it. Okay, so but tonight is the Iowa caucuses. All right. And I want to talk about that, and I want to take it to the phones now at this point. But tonight is the Iowa caucuses, and who do you think will win? Okay, so 272-0319 is the number. All right, so 272-0319 is the number. And while I'm waiting for phone calls here. All right, I do want to get into so the Republicans have had several debates. All right, and the Democrats have had only a couple debates, like 2 or 3, but the Democrats, for the most part, they have tried to hide a lot of their debates. All right, and for some reason they always have their debates at over the weekend. Okay, over the weekend when nobody watches the debates or pays attention. They've had it where they've had it on days where a football game is on. All right, most people are going to be watching the football game. They're not going to be watching the debate. Wouldn't you think if you had a debate, okay, you would have it on prime time on the weekdays, okay, like on a Thursday or Friday, where everybody's going to be paying attention. All right, but with that, the Iowa caucus is tonight, and it's looking like Trump is ahead in Iowa, but Cruz is giving Trump a run for his money. Cruz is, there was an Iowa poll that showed Cruz ahead of Trump. Okay, but the polls have been wrong from time to time. Okay, now because they showed there could be like what happened in 2012. when the polls showed Romney ahead, and then they mistakenly said that Romney won the Iowa caucus, but then we found out later, days later, that Romney wasn't the winner of the caucus, that Santorum was, you know. But you know, I also want to show this though. Okay, Hillary Clinton. Okay, now the Democrats held a forum. Okay, instead of a debate, and they got tough questions from their audience. Okay, like this question from a Bernie Sanders supporter.
A lot of young people like myself who are very passionate supporters of Bernie Sanders, and I just don't see the same enthusiasm from younger people for you. In fact, I've heard from quite a few people my age that they think you're dishonest, but I'd like to hear from you on why you feel the enthusiasm isn't there.
Well, I think it really depends upon who you're seeing and talking to. You know, today in Oskaloosa I spent time with about 10 high school students who are enthusiastically working for me. I see young people across the state who are doing the same. If you're new to politics, if it's the first time you've really paid attention, you go, oh my gosh, look at all of this. And you have to say to yourself, why are they throwing all of that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I've been on the front lines of change and progress since I was your age. I have been fighting to give kids and women and the people who are left out and left behind a chance to make the most out of their own lives.
Well, now, obviously she did not answer the question. Okay, which you know, and you know, she's ducking and dodging. You know, Hillary is not the one. You know, she's looking at indictment. You know, I think she might get an indictment, in which case she might have to drop out of the race, and then we might see Bloomberg jump in. You know, which it's not going to help him. You know, because third-party candidates are just, you know, not making it. You know, nowadays. You know, every time a third-party candidate comes into the race, they don't get it. They don't get too far, you know. But with all of this, you know, I think there is cause for, you know. But we'll see what happens tonight, okay? And I will talk about it next week. All right, but if you're out there, 272-0319 is the number. All right, I know there was a caller earlier, you know. So if you're still watching, you know, we can talk things out. We're coming down to the wire, though. All right, and at this point, I have to get into the last words for the night. Alright, so tonight's the Iowa caucus, and as for that, I think I see that on the Republican side, Donald Trump is leading, along with Ted Cruz in second, and Hillary and Rubio in third. Okay. Democrat side, Hillary might be leading, Bernie Sanders is in second, and Martin O'Malley third, who he doesn't stand a chance anyways. But anyway, that's our show for tonight. We thank you for watching Political Points, where the right is right and the left is always on the wrong side of history. Follow me on Twitter at WilliamMetro2. And Check me out on YouTube. All right, once again, thank you for watching Political Point. Where the right is right,